Hello friends, welcome to Exampur. I hope my voice is audible, screen is visible, everything is set. If this is so, please do let me know so that I can continue with the session. Or today we are going to deal with the national income. If you have any query regarding any topic, you can just let me know about those topics so that I can just make you done regarding the same. Okay, before going forward, I just want to let you know about the national income. What do we mean by national income? National income is the sum of income earned by the residents living in a national territory, and residents we are talking about to the production units both within and outside the geographical boundary of the economy. Like if our residents, like Indian economy, have a kind of agents. I've told you about economics is the study to know about the production, consumption, investment. Economy is the area where everything is taking place. Economic agents are the one who is making the things done. Okay, whosoever is participating in the economical activities, those would be considered as agents. There is difference between these three terms. Okay, in order to know more about it, like economics, economy, and economic agent. So what is the difference between these three parts? Like economics is the study to know about the production, consumption, and everything whatsoever is taking place in the form of economic activities. Study of economic activities. The way I can just put on one example, like if you have attained fifth position in the global economy, that is coming after US, China, Japan, and Germany. Okay, so this is the kind of study that you have attained in terms of national income. You are running faster, so you are trying to study about the growth figures, growth perspectives of the economy. And next, economy is the area where you are making consideration of these variables. Okay, actions of economic activities, you can say. Okay, economic agent is who is performing the task, who is performing production units and consumption units, everything are being undertaken. Next point. Now, what we are trying to look at over here is national income. This is the sum of income. Whether like 10 population is there, suppose example, for the sake of example, I'm putting on. If 10% is there working in the 8 persons are working in the territory and 2 are working outside. Both are considered as the resident of our country. So, income of the 10 people has to be included in our country, in the Indian economy itself. So, this is considered as the national income. National, it refers to residents whose economic interests lie within the country in which they live. Okay. Factor income is all about income derived from the factors of production, whether it be land, labor, capital, and whatsoever it is. Okay, getting my point? National income, it is all making the relevance with the residents. It doesn't matter whether you are making income out of Indian territory or outside it, but your income has to be calculated under the territory. Okay, like for the sake of example, I have put in the points that if 8% are earning in the Indian territory and 2 are earning outside it, but calculation of the national income has to be attained on the basis of those 10 people. Okay. Number 2, what is the level, what is national over here? National is whosoever, like residents, if they are indulging in any kind of economical activity within the territory, okay, within the country they live. So that would be considered as the national. Third point, factor income. Factor could be considered anything like labor. If you are contributing, you should be getting salary out of it. If you are giving capital, you should be attaining profit out of it. If you are giving entrepreneurship, again, you should be getting return out of it. If you are leasing your rent, you should be getting rent out of it. So that whatever factor you are making contribution in the economy, like if you are putting your land for the economical contribution in what sense? Like you are making the cultivation of any crop, means your land is making contribution in the agriculture sector. So you should be getting rent on your land. Since you are making contribution of the land towards the Indian economy. So this should be the criteria. Okay. So this should be the criteria. Next point is all about national income accounting. Like, as I have told you about national income. So what do you mean by accounting? Accounting means it's the method used to measure the economic activity of the nation. Whether it be about the sectoral basis we are talking about, whether it be about the segments we are talking about. Till now, we have only known about the term economy, economics, and economical agents, national income, how we are determining that. This is all about accounting. Here you need to make the concerns for the measurements. How do you calculate the income level? What are the measures you are undertaking into the scenario? What is the layout on the basis of which you are calculating the national income? Is there any criteria on the basis of which we are making calculation? Provide the information about trend of economic activity. On the basis of these economic activities, these measurements, we are trying to make the check and balance. Yes, HTI is going well. Yes, HTI is going worst. Or national income growth is going well, lying between 6 to 7. So these are the measurements on the basis of which you can perform better. You can frame your policies, you can frame your strategies to upgrade yourself, your economical activities. So accounting national income, only the income earned by the residents is taken into the account, irrespective of the economic territory. What do we mean by it? Like income earned by residents. Income earned by residents taken into account irrespective of their economic territory. It may be within and outside the economic territory. We must see whether income is generated by residents, whether the income is generated by residents or non-residents. Okay, so both the things are there in the picture, that within and outside the economic territory we are earning, we must generate the income by the residents or non-resident. So significance, what is the benefits of the national accounting? Obviously, everywhere, wherever you are making the measurements. Suppose I have given the example at the time of organized or unorganized sector. What is the drawback of unorganized sector? Because we do not get to see the registered member. Whosoever is working in the economy, we are not at all known about the person, where he is working, we are not at all aware about it. The major aspect of the economy is to have the data analysis so that we can get to know about the person, where he is working. And this kind of problem has come into the picture when we have seen the circumstances in the pandemic, that lots of migrants are suffering a lot. They are migrating from here to there. They are not getting sources for the livelihood. At that time, we felt to have the requirement of data analysis. Obviously, we have to make it sure why 90+% population is getting indulged in the unorganized sector and we are not aware about the person, where he is working, and how to allocate the policies. And before providing the policy framework, we have to allot the resources to those particular class. It would be possible only when you would be aware about that person. So we are trying to make the economy more formalized. We are trying to make economy more formalized. So what we are, I just want to make you sure about it, want to tell you about that. That data analysis is going to make you sure about the framework, in what ways you have to take the things into consideration. Okay, data analysis could be taken as the measurements. This is the clear picture, how to measure the things. Next is all about whenever you do have excess of data, that yes, your economy is running between 7 to 8%, and how much target should be there for next 25 years in order to have the status of developed economy. The way you need to make the forecast for next 25 years, the way you are putting on forecast for future. Obviously, forecasting is meant for future only. Next is all about the policy formulation. Data would be required. I have already told you about. In order to build the policies and in order to have the frameworks, you need to have the proper data analysis, so that you can just have the access. Yes, 20% Janta is involved from this sector, and we have to provide the benefits to this segment. We can only get to know about that segment only when we do have data. Okay, and if we have data, if we have the measurements of data, we can just make the analysis. Yes, Odisha has attained the first rank in PDS system. Yes, if Odisha has attained good, so we can learn from that state. How can we say that? As that state has attained the first position. So this is all about measurements. You get to know about the real status, you get to know about the real performance, and on the basis of that performance, how you can forecast, how you can allocate your resources. This is all coming from the data which you have. This is all coming from the data which you are measuring, and this is all coming from the data which you are testing. And test is going to make the real check and balance, and on the basis of that check and balance, you are performing in Indian economy. I hope this is very much set. Helpful in the decision making. Yes, if I am attaining, suppose I am giving the test for 100, okay, or I would able to attain the 60 marks in it. Where I am lagging behind, I am just going to know only out of this 40 domain. Okay, out of this 40 marks, I am going to check it out, that critical analysis I need to make out of this test. So this is all coming from the measurements. I would be able to make my decisions on the basis of this 40 marks only when I have measured the things. Making on the investment, helping the business houses to plan for the production, and in what direction I had performed so better in the earlier years. If I have performed so better in that domain, I can make more production in that part. If I am analyzing more consumption level in particular products, I can expand the business for that particular product so that sale could go up. So these all are the analytical approaches you need to make sure. Next is about the factor cost, basic price, market price factor. Factor cost is all about cost of factor of production, such as I have told you about the factors, whether it be labor, whether it be land you are leasing to, entrepreneurs incurring by the firm, producing the goods and services. So it is the cost of all the factors of production used in producing goods and services, does not include the taxes that are paid to government. Okay, that are paid to government, since taxes are not directly involved in production process. Okay, taxes are not directly involved in production process, therefore are not a part of direct production part. Okay, production process like taxes is not directly making the part of production, so we cannot just make the addition in it, because at times you do receive subsidies in the production cost. Subsidies are given on the inputs used in the production. So basic pay is what? Received by the producer, excluding the taxes and including the subsidy. Excluding why? basic prices. You have to just reduce the taxes you are paying. Obviously, things are getting subtracted out of it. And whatever, like with respect to the production, they are getting the subsidies. So you need to make the inclusion of the subsidies. Exclude the transportation charges invoiced separately by the producers. Basic pay, like basic prices which whatsoever is received by the producer, they are not including the taxes, but including the subsidies, because subsidies has been given on the inputs to the producers. So I am talking about with respect to the producers. Okay, you are not at all including, because who is going to make payment for the tax? That is consumer. If you are talking about the basic pay scale, so producer has to subtract the taxes. This is not at all considered as the direct cost, not being included into the production process. Or as you are receiving the subsidies, this is why, or this subsidies has to be taken over by the producer. So they are making addition of it and subtracting the tax, because tax is more or less relevant to the consumer part. So why they are going to make the inclusion of it. Okay. Next basic price we have talked about. Market price at which goods and services are sold. Suppose I am going to market. If I am purchasing one, like I am purchasing this marker. Okay. So if I'm just purchasing this style here, goods and services are costing for 10 rupees in market. If this is considered in the market, this is determined from the demand and supply. This has been determined on the basis of demand and supply forces. Okay, this would be considered as free economy. Free economy where the market forces are working, no intervention you have seen till now. Okay, market prices also includes the net taxes. Also includes the net indirect taxes. Okay, what do you mean by net indirect taxes? Where the indirect taxes minus subsidy. Subsidies has to be taken by the producer, right? So you are subtracting from here. What do you mean by net indirect taxes? Like if you are purchasing one packet of biscuit of 5 rupees, you are already including the GST in it. Okay. This is why you are making the inclusion of the taxes in the market price. So this free market economy where no interference you get to see. No interference is there. It has to be determined by the free economy. What do you mean by free economy? Where the demand and supply is working. Okay. Next point is all about prior to 2015 was estimated at the factor cost. Factor cost, what do you mean by it? What like factor cost we were determining? I'm just going to let you explain about the things. GDP at FC and GDP at MP. What is the major difference? Now we are using this segment. This is the real indicator. This is the real indicator which a consumer or any economic agents encounter in the market. Or at the time of factor, who is really facing? Like face producer, like who is facing it? Producer side. Considered by the producer side, which is not the ultimate goal. Ultimatum for economic activities. As it does not include indirect taxes. Net indirect taxes. Includes net indirect taxes at the time of purchasing anything. Okay, this is what we are talking about. And from 2015 onwards, I have already talked you about that GVA at basic price to use the calculate the GDP at MP, which is the real indicator, which is the real price which has to be faced, which a consumer or any economic agent. Why I have taken the name of economic agent, be it a consumer, be it a producer, be it a government, like government is also making expenditure, right? Or if we are making export or import, the demand for those particular goods, any price we are facing as the economic agent, this should be our ultimatum to get it done by the market prices. As market prices also includes the level on what margin we are setting upon the indirect taxes, which is impacting the ultimate customers. Okay. At the time of factor prices, suppose factor prices, if we used to determine the way we used to determine before 2015, I have purchased the goods at 10 rupees, but they have setting their production prices at 5 rupees. So there is a huge difference. So we have taken out, we have come at the picture of market price so that real picturization could be generated out of the segment. Okay. So shift from the factor cost to market price indicate India is confirming to the yes international the way why we have turned or make a shift from the factor price to the market price. Earlier we had to make the conversion from the GDP at FC to the GDP at MP in order to make the compliance with the international standard. Now we are not required to make a shift or we need to convert the GDP from FC to MP. Now we are not at all required. So we have also established the compliance with the international standard. So system of national accounting of UN, which is used by most of the countries. It is not being undertaken by every country, but most of the country, majority of the country are using the same. Difference between factor prices and the GVA at basic price is the productions are taxes are included. Obviously, MP taxes are included and production subsidies are excluded because no customer is getting the subsidies but the producer. So they have to include the taxes. So it can be taken as net indirect taxes. What is net indirect taxes? Indirect tax minus subsidies. Okay. So next is about production tax and production subsidies are different from product tax and product subsidy. Okay, product if the taxes if I am the owner or the producer, different kind of taxation would be there. Product taxes is known as the indirect taxes. Things are being accomplished on the basis of product base. If I am purchasing biscuit, so a kind of taxes would be there. Or if I am purchasing like LPG cylinder, I am getting subsidies on that. That is different from the production tax. What requirement has to be fulfilled by the government. So there is difference between production is coming from the side of supply side and product is talking about with reference to consumers, which is lying in the demand side. Both the sides are different. Okay. In the case of product, who is receiving the subsidies? That is customer. Like in case of LPG, we are receiving the subsidies in that domain. Okay. And in case of production taxes and subsidies, we are talking about who is receiving the subsidies? That is the producer. So there is difference in both the things. If we are talking about the production tax and subsidies, you have to make the reference with the supply side. Okay. And if you are making deal with the product tax and subsidies, you have to think about yourself. You are the ultimate customer. You are paying the taxes. Yes, you are paying the taxes in the form of GST. Are you receiving any subsidies on anything? Yes. In case of electricity, LPG, you can make the analysis. Okay. So this is how you can just correlate the words. Try to interrelate the economic subject with the demand and supply portions. Okay. Next, production taxes are imposed even if products are not produced. Okay. Production taxes are imposed even if products are not produced, such as taxes on, yes, if you have property and taxes has to divide on property, no matter whether you are using that property or not. This is up to you. If you have this land, if you have this property, you are liable to make payment towards the government in the form of taxes. Whether your land is in use or not, it doesn't matter. Okay. So this is considered as the production tax, and excise duty, value added are all product tax. Indirect taxes, you can take the name of GST. Likewise, product subsidies would not include the interest subsidies, which will form the part of production subsidies. Obviously, if you are taking the interest subsidies, interest subventions, if you are doing business, if you are making production, so in interest subvention you get a kind of relaxation in interest you are getting from the side of government. If you are getting relaxation on the side of government to the producer in the process of production, so this is getting to the production, no? So producer would be getting the subsidies. So you do not have to include this in the production subsidies, product subsidies. Okay. Next is all about GDP at market prices brought about product taxes and deducting the product subsidies from GVA at basic price. Okay. So GVA, if you are talking about the GVA, measure of total output, income in economy. Like GVA is got total output and income in the economy, provide rupee value for the goods and services produced in country after deducting the cost. Obviously, after deducting the cost, whatever level I have produced, whatever I have produced in the economy, now I have to deduct the cost of input, so that double counting would not be there, have gone into the production of goods and services. It gives a sector specific picture. Obviously, or it includes industry, agriculture and manufacturing, but does not include the service part. Okay, you need to make the stagnance. This is the sectoral specific picture which is making contribution in the economy. Okay, it is particularly denoting how much production level has been provided by which sector. This has to be assessed by the GVA, and it provides the rupee value, and it is making surety that the amount of your production minus the cost. Okay, whatever you are left with, that would be known as the GVA. Okay, next point is all about intermediate consumption, purchase acquiring from the another production units, and it is acquired for the resale value. Intermediate is amount of goods and services you have just taken. Intermediate, you can just make the interconnecting point. Intermediate goods you are taking, your motive is to resell it. Okay, the way at the time of finished goods, what you are thinking, this is your ultimate aim, just to sell the product to the customer. This is not so in case of intermediate goods. Okay, used up entirely in the course of production during the accounting period. And what the national accounting accounts statistics do, and it has to be undertaken by the CSO. Everything is undertaken by the CSO nowadays, because it is the combined central statistical organization. It was decided that while computing GDP, at the time of computing the GDP, sector-wise estimates of GVA will now be given at basic price instead of factor price. I have already told you about things has been considered under the MP, under the market price, not under the factor price. After 2015 onwards, GVA at basic price means market price, production tax and exclude the production subsidies available on the commodity. GVA at factor price includes no tax and excludes no subsidies. Okay, means factor price, they are not including tax, but including what? Subsidies. Okay, calculating the MP includes both production and production tax, both the production and product. GDP includes what? It is not at all considerate. GDP at MP. It is making inclusion of what? Production tax plus the product tax minus the production subsidies and the product subsidies. Production, you are making relevance with the supply side. Product, you are making relevance with the consumer side. Okay. I hope everything is set. Okay guys, so what I am trying to give you a clear glance, a quick glance related to these pointers. So I just want to let you know about the Exampur app. You just have to go by these 6 steps, and these 6 steps will provide you different amenities which are available for free. Okay, Exampur app is providing various amenities like paid courses are also available, subject-wise quizzes are available, like admit cards would be given, like exam dates, everything is available. PDFs with solution would be provided. Scholarship plannings are also there. National income, I have already told you, whether you, if you are a resident, you are working outside the country, whether you are working in our country, both the things are getting calculated under the national income. Okay. So national is meant for the economic interest lying within the country. Factor is making earning. Economics is the study of economic activities. Economy is an area where the things are undertaken. Economic agent who is performing the economic activities. Accounting is meant for the measure, the way economic activities have been measured. Like if you are talking about agriculture sector, any sector you are talking about, it is being measured. So this would be taken under the national income accounting. This would be good for determining the forecasting, comparing the estimates, how to make the decisions in order to make upgradation in the production scenario and all. Next is all about factor cost, basic price and market price. What all are difference between the same. Factor cost, I have already told you about that the factor cost includes only land, labor, capital, whatever factor you are making use of. But you are not at all including net and direct taxes in it. It is the cost of factor used in producing the goods and services. Okay, it does not include the tax as I have already mentioned you, but receive the payment of subsidies. Basic payment, producer excluding. It is not at all including the production tax and including the product subsidies. Means basic pay is only making consideration with the producer side. Product tax and product subsidies are making relevance. Relevance with what? Making relevance with what? Producer. Production tax is making relevance with the producer. That is why basic prices are trying to make the connection with production tax and production subsidies only. Market price, free market, demand and supply has to be made determination of. And next is all about 2015 GDP used to calculate at the on the basis of factor price. Now it is being calculated on the basis of market price. Okay, so GDP at factor price and GVA at basic price. What is the difference between these two? It is not undertaking the production tax. Production tax are included. Production subsidies are excluded from the matter, from the letter. Okay, both the producer tag, like they are only making the relevance with the production strategies, production tax or subsidies, not taking the consideration of the product tax or subsidies. Okay, what are the basic difference? So GDP at FC and MP I have told you about. What are the real picture? Production tax and subsidies are different from the product tax. As I have told you about, production tax and subsidies are making relevance with producer. Product tax and subsidies are making relevance with consumer. They are lying in different sides. So you can just make the analysis of. And at the time of GBA, if we are making the discussion of, so this is the sector specific picture of growth. It is classifying their data on the basis of on the sectoral basis. Sector wise determination of data and growth would be given under the GBA. Okay. And classification of intermediate goods. Intermediate goods are being used up entirely in the course of production. It is not for the ultimate aim. You can just make the analysis. And what is the basic difference? What is the basic difference between GBA and GBA at basic price and the GDP at MP price? GDP at MP price, I have already made you sure. Both the things are being undertaken by GDP. Okay, GDP is undertaking whether it be about production tax, product tax, whether it be about production subsidies or product subsidies. Everything is being undertaken by the GDP at MP. This is why we, since 2015 onwards, we have opted for this point. Everything is being considered. But when we do talk about the GVA basic price, it is not. It is only considering the production tax and production subsidies. Not to product tax or product subsidies. Plus, if you want to know the difference between these two, like former is what? Production tax, production subsidies. Former are relevant to supply side, means producer. Later making association, okay, later making association with the demand side, product tax and subsidies. Okay. So this is all set, and my class do take place always from 9 to 10. This is for economics. This is for economics static part. And 12 to 1 is for DNA, daily news analysis, that is only for the economic affairs. That is only meant for economic affairs. Okay. So if you have any query, you can just put a comment and just let me know about the query so that accordingly would be given the answer. Thank you so much. Have a great day to all of you.